I used to believe that some people were just good, kind, dependable, safe. That belief shattered the night everything changed. It didn't happen suddenly. It crept in like fog, quiet and slow, until I couldn't tell what was real anymore. When my mom remarried, I thought maybe we could finally be happy again. After my dad left, things were hard. Money, emotions, everything. Then came Daniel. He was charming, patient, the kind of man who made everyone feel seen. Especially me. He noticed things nobody else did. How I liked my coffee with too much sugar, or how I chewed my pencil when I was nervous. At first, I thought it was just kindness. A man trying to make his new stepdaughter comfortable. But over time, it changed. The compliments started small. "You've got such a smart head on your shoulders, Lily." Then later, "You're growing into such a beautiful young woman." I didn't think much of it. He said it like a father would, or so I told myself. But there was something in the way he looked at me that I couldn't explain. Something that made my stomach twist with confusion. When I turned 16, things felt different. He'd linger in the kitchen after Mom left for her night shifts. We'd talk about school, life, dreams. He'd pour himself a drink, and I'd sip soda, pretending to be grown up. Sometimes he'd talk about my mom, how hard she worked, how lonely he felt. I shouldn't have listened, but I did. Maybe because I was lonely too. He made me feel like I mattered. Like I was special. Until the night that feeling turned into something else entirely. It was summer, hot and heavy. Mom was working late again. The power flickered from a storm outside, and the house fell into dim, golden candlelight. We sat at the table, shadows dancing on the walls. "You've grown up so fast," he said quietly, looking at me too long. "You're not a little girl anymore." I laughed it off, but my chest felt tight. Something in his tone didn't sound right. I tried to change the subject, but his words hung in the air, thick as the humidity outside. The silence stretched, uncomfortable and endless. That night, when I went to bed, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts spun in circles. Part of me was angry at him, at myself, at how confused I felt. Another part tried to pretend everything was fine. But it wasn't. Over the next few weeks, his behavior became unpredictable. One moment he'd act like nothing happened, joking, helping with my homework, playing the role of perfect stepdad. The next, his eyes would linger too long, his compliments cutting too close. I stopped inviting friends over. I started locking my door. Then one day, I came home to find a small box on my bed. Inside was a piece of jewelry, a delicate gold bracelet. It looked expensive. I didn't know what to think. When I asked him about it, he smiled and said, "You deserve nice things, Lily." That's when something inside me broke. I realized this wasn't about care. It was about control. He wanted to blur the lines, to make me doubt myself. That night, I sat in my room shaking. I finally understood the truth that what he'd been doing wasn't love, wasn't kindness. It was manipulation. He had turned my need for comfort into a weapon. I packed a small bag and went to stay with my aunt. It took me 3 days to tell her everything. 3 days of fear, guilt, and tears. I expected her to be angry at me. But she wasn't. She was furious at him. And for the first time, I realized it wasn't my fault. It took months for my mom to believe me. When she did, she left him instantly. She cried harder than I'd ever seen, apologizing over and over. But I wasn't angry anymore. I was just tired. Now, 2 years later, I still think about that night, the storm, the candlelight, the moment I realized that monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes, they sit across from you at the dinner table, wearing a smile. Trust is fragile. It can take years to build, and one night to destroy. But I'm healing. Slowly. And if my story reaches even one person who feels trapped, confused, or scared, please know this. You are not alone. You are not crazy. And you have every right to speak up, no matter who tries to silence you.